Hello, and welcome to another ohmTown Daily News Show. I am Mayor Watt, and today is March 29th, 2023, Season 2, Episode 88, Mammoth Balls, and more news. We've already selected all 10 of tonight's articles. We're going to start out talking about WWDC, a little bit of Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker doing air raid alerts in Ukraine, an Ohio River disaster barge, Amazon delivery driver walks into a North Carolina police standoff to drop off a package. Talk about delivering in all kinds of weather. A man caught, apparently, smuggling CPUs under their clothes. A Danish Zoo hopes to ignite Panda Romance. It might be pandemonium. Ramen for breakfast? Everybody's had it, I think, but this one, it's a different taste. 3 newly discovered sea worms that glow in the dark, named after creatures from Japanese folklore. An elephant in the dining room gives us our title today, Mammoth Meatballs. And a book thief evades prison time. And I thought this one was interesting. Let's get into today's news. Hello again. I am Mayor Watt. That is ohmTown.com. And up there is the visualizer for the AI from on high. The one, the only, still going by AI.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens.
It's true. Good evening. It is evening. What do you think? Do you think maybe, is there a time where we'll be able to do this in a morning episode or an afternoon episode, Eastern time?
Maybe on certain days of the week.
Got it. Maybe we can try that. Let's maybe see what we can do. That said, we've already selected all of the articles for tonight, and pretty simply put, what we do is we go through the last 24 hours, and some articles are sent in, some of them are parsed because we go through the news. Everything is selected, agreed upon. We file everything in triplicate. We send it in to the government for verification that it is truthful and honest and unbiased. That last part isn't really true, but anyway. It's all funneled into 6 main categories right here, like creative and news and science and food and drink, entertainment, and social, politics, and law. There's 6 main categories, and the last one is gadgets and technology. I kind of ran through that pretty quick, so it may have sounded like there was 18 of them, but there's actually only 6. And then in those are all of the channels. Now, we're only really running the ohmTown Daily News Show, but I am looking for and interested in getting people to host and co-host throughout the week 1-hour shows, 50 of them, as a matter of fact. Again, it's just 1 hour of your time. Obviously, you have to be interested, passionate about it, and personable online, and if you are during a stream. And if you are interested in that, just send an email to mayor or boss at ohmTown.com. Mayor is me. I'm Mayor Watt. With all of that thrown at you within the first 4 minutes, let's get into the shoe. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Sounds great. I don't think the music is overwhelming. I have a little bit of background music, so if you turn it up really loud, then it'll blow out your speakers when I start talking, so don't do that. Anyway, the very first article is Decoding WWDC. That's right. A bunch of notices were sent out by Apple that, well, people are wondering, does the 2023 artwork for WWDC have VR vibes? Apple today announced WWDC 2023, the next edition of its annual developer conference. Although the conference will be broadcast online, the company will hold a special event in Apple Park for selected guests. Mayor Watt is not one of them. And with every Apple event comes a special artwork to advertise it. But what does the WWDC 2023 artwork mean? Read on as 9 to 5 Mac, I believe it is, 9 to 5 Mac decodes. Who's that guy that does the symbology?
Oh, I mean, are you thinking of the books?
Yeah.
Like Da Vinci Code Dan Brown?
Yeah, so Dan Brown-esque kind of, does this look like it's giving off VR vibes? Well, I can tell you right away, straight out of this, yeah, it does. This looks very much like a Fresnel lens or Fresnel lens. Yeah, I mean, that's how it's spelled and pronounced, but or Fresnel lens, some people say, but more nowadays you wouldn't use that. You would use a pancake lens, as it's referred to. This is Philippe Esposito's writing over at 9to5mac.com. But this is one of the things, the bits of information that was sent out to all those invited to WWDC, and I think that this looks like pancake lenses, and the rainbow of light that would refract through them into your eyeball, and that little question mark might be you. So
I don't think it looks like colored pencils, but I think you're probably closer.
And so the artwork for the September 2015 event was the Apple logo with Siri's, I have to be careful, voice waves. I have to be careful because if I say this around other people, it might set it off. But anyway, if you mention that which shall not be named, you can end up in trouble. At any rate, so this is the artwork, and then it says special event at Apple Park, and this is symbolic of Apple Park, but this too looks kind of like a lens, right? So you could have them stacked. Maybe this is the circular lens laying halfway on its side, and stacked one on top of the other, so pancake lens, and this is looking through it, or maybe the profile again stacked on top of each other would focus the light down into where 9 to 5 Mac put a little question mark right there, and I would say that that's where the people are, right? I don't know, I didn't actually see this sent out, like how it was sent out to people, but if it was both of these, then it would even lean into a little bit more because it has two screens, but I don't know if that's how it was sent out. What do you think? Do you think this is going to be introducing an AR or VR headset from Apple, estimated to be $3,000?
I think it has to be. There's been so much about it already, and I think these graphics lend to that.
Really?
Like, I think they're teasing it.
I just got a spam email that says that I won a Ninja air fryer.
Oh, cool.
These are the important emails that I get while we are doing a show. So I'm pretty sure that they're going to be discussing something, but I don't know if they are going to. Oh, and see, they say in the article, this time Apple has chosen colorful waves to represent WWDC 2023, as noted by Halid. The waves look similar to what is called a pancake lens array, which is commonly used in virtual reality headsets. It says, of course, this raises users' expectations as Apple is rumored to announce its own mixed reality headset at the event. $3,000, folks. Do you have an extra $3,000? If this thing isn't powered by an M.2 or M.2, I don't know why I keep sticking M. in there. M2 is its latest processor series. If it launches with an M2 and is completely self-powered and is powered by Siri, I still want to know what the controllers are. If it's doing hand detection, finger detection, there's still actuation requirements. So what are you going to be doing? Saying to Siri, go left, go right, jump, that, and giving it the thumbs up to actually instantiate the claim, just, okay, go. You sound like Picard saying engage. What is the device that allows me to interact with the AR or VR world? And if it's nothing more than AR and providing data onto my augmented reality lenses, $3,000 is a bit much. I'm sorry.
It is a bit much, but it's still a bit much. Apple products, I think, are always high price, but not to that degree.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're buying an Apple computer, and then it kind of does this leap from a simple desktop $700 device or a little bit lower to suddenly being $5,000. So I guess we'll see. It's right around the corner here, June 5th through 9th. So let's move on to the next article. Before I do that, though, I will throw this into the VOD so that viewers can hang out with us. Hang out with us in chat. They can actually follow the link to the article in ohmTown and then follow it over to 9 to 5 Mac. And on ohmTown, you can have a conversation. But largely, like me, I don't really post that much on ohmTown. I use it as an aggregator, and we talk here on stream about it. So feel free to use ohmTown.com as your aggregator. And when you subscribe to whatever channels you are interested in, you will get that news in your feed. So it works out quite well for you. At any rate, let's move on to the next article, which is in the continuity report. Mark Hamill as Luke Skywalker voices air raid alerts in Ukraine. I didn't think that this would actually ever occur in my lifetime, but apparently this is a reality. Hamill is one of many celebrities to contribute to humanitarian efforts in Ukraine and was recruited to raise money for military drones last year. And now, according to, oh my gosh, I didn't log into the account. I won't do it here either. But anyway, Mark Hamill is giving air raid alerts as Luke Skywalker. I don't know, do you think he says stuff like Darth Vader? He says, no!
That's what I kind of imagine, but I mean, since he's Luke Skywalker, I don't know, but I would love to hear an audio clip of, it's a sad situation that this is happening, but I love that this is occurring for the voices.
I guess it could get your attention. Man, I wish that this wasn't that frustrating. I'm sorry. It's fine at one point, and then it's not fine when I do this. Yeah, most of the time the article is loading just fine, but every once in a while it does this. So, at any rate, there you go. Let's move on to the next article. It'll allow us to speed up a little bit. When you go there, you shouldn't be running into that little soft paywall. The next article is over in the Daily News Show. Ohio River disaster as barge with tons of toxic methanol sinks. So it seems like we can't go a single day without some environmental concern regularly happening. It's really weird. I wish that it didn't happen, but I guess accidents happen, and when you're always moving stuff from left to right, something always happens, I suppose.
Right. I mean, it all seems to be, it's not, but a lot of it seems to be transportation related, right? But
Sure.
then we also had like the factory explosion, although that wasn't necessarily toxic materials.
Right.
But there was some other spill.
Yeah, that might be in here too. I don't quite recall all of it, but it just seems to be endless. A crash near Louisville, Kentucky, caused 3 barges to become lodged, one of which officials said was partially submerged and carries 1,400 tons of methanol. This is over at
That seems like
Newsweek.
a lot.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot. So it's partially submerged, and if it is leaking, I haven't read that part yet, but it comes just weeks after a toxic plume traveled down the major U.S. waterway from the site of a train derailment or near East Palestine, on the border between Ohio and Pennsylvania, prompting measures to prevent contamination of the drinking water that is supplied to around 5 million people. People in Pennsylvania were told to drink bottled water, and then there was a panic in the stores in Pennsylvania because people were freaking out that they had to drink from bottled water and wanted to make sure that that's what they got. Reminiscent of COVID panic, where people were standing in line at 4 o'clock in the morning to get toilet paper. Because some wacky people out there decided to buy pallets worth and then sell it on Craigslist and other places. Because, you just can't have civilized people in the 21st century. You have to have panic exploitive people. Anyway, the Louisville Metropolitan Emergency Services said that shortly after 2 a.m. Eastern Time, a vessel towing 11 barges made contact with a stationary structure. It just jumped right out and bit them.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, how did it make contact with a stationary structure?
I wonder if there was only one person helming this thing, and they fell asleep or something. I don't know.
This goes back to the safety discussions we've been talking about.
Yeah, let's see. Safety is the top concern. Well, obviously not. Safety of the public and first responder personnel, it added. There is currently no impact to Louisville waters. Water intake or water quality. Yep, that's what they've said in other places. Not these particular people, but there's always somebody that says, the water's just fine. Really? Here, have a sip. No, I'm not thirsty.
Well, and this is interesting. I don't know where these locations are, but it says, if it is to breach and is uncontained traveling downstream, we do not anticipate it being a problem for Henderson. Well, no, it's going to be a problem for the next city or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, Henderson, it might be a problem for you. Just letting you know. ASMR PSA. Henderson, Kentucky. There's tons of methanol heading downriver towards you. You might want to get bottled water. If it is to breach and is uncontained traveling downstream, we do not anticipate it being a problem for Henderson. We do anticipate that it will be a problem for life in the river and those further down, and not necessarily, you don't have to drink the water.
While they're drinking like a bottled water, doing the, the announcement or whatever.
So, as a result of the contact, 10 of the barges being towed broke loose, 3 of which became pinned against the lower McAlpine Dam. The LMS said the other barges had been carrying corn and soy. Guess. Yeah.
Well, at least that part sounds healthy, although it's food supply, so that's kind of a problem too.
Wow, it bent around the pier. So I'm curious who all was piloting this and who was shepherding these barges downstream so that they wouldn't be caught. So
yeah, I'm also interested in the effects of methanol, which sound pretty severe.
Yeah. So earlier I was asked, is methanol bad? And I'm like, well, methanol by itself isn't necessarily bad, but it's a fuel. So It's highly flammable, explosive if it's contained and essentially ignited. And it's also toxic to humans in small amounts, so don't drink it. You'll have to basically light your water on fire and then boil it. The effects of methanol poisoning may not become apparent until 72 hours after being ingested and can include blindness, vomiting, heart failure, and death. So you will smell it. It evaporates pretty quick. But it's not healthy to smell, drink, touch, etc. And you can absorb it through your skin. So try not to mess around anywhere near this accident for the time being. Then they start talking about East Palestine again. So let's hustle on to the next article. But that is yet another of the PSAs that come out of ohmTown. We see all of this stuff. We don't talk about all of them. Many other articles are over at ohmTown itself. So go check out ohmTown.com. The next article is in the Mobile Channel. Amazon delivery driver walks into North Carolina police standoff to drop off a package. And it's quite the package that dropped off the package. You have to have mammoth meatballs to go into that. I'm actually setting, you might take that in a weird way, but I'm actually setting the stage for another article. But okay, so a TikTok video posted earlier this month shows an Amazon driver walking by multiple police cars with lights flashing toward a Raleigh, North Carolina house to deliver a package. The officers appear to be in a standoff at or near the recipient's house. I think it's kind of funny because it's almost like one of those shows where a plainclothes police officer that bends the rules just scoops up a pizza and shows up to the assailant's house and says, "I got a pizza." And when the person comes out to get the pizza, he whips out his gun and beats the ever-living daylights out of the assailant, and then the standoff is complete. And then when they get back into the police station, the police chief reads them the riot act for violating all of the policy and procedure that the police station has laid down for decades, and that one of these two people is just too old for this shit. Did I say too much?
That was very specific.
Okay. So anyway, let's go over to the article. The article is over at The Hill. I've actually seen this coming and going through ohmTown since the initial viral video. And we always had something else that we wanted to talk about. Then I saw it over on Reddit at times. I've seen it on other websites at times. Well,
it got submitted multiple times. It was worth covering.
Yeah. Kayla Morton and Addie Bink are the authors of this over at thehill.com. And what I described is basically what went down. Amazon delivery driver said, "I've got bills to pay." And stomped right on up there, delivered the package. In the midst of a standoff, he's going to deliver his package. Amazon, hard at work. The person who recorded the video is heard saying. So police said Sanders was eventually arrested following de-escalation efforts and charged with false imprisonment and assault on a female. That's the person that was in the standoff. I'm not going to get into whoever the other person was from Amazon because I really don't want them to get fired, and I don't even want to know if they got fired. The company so Amazon has been criticized for its working conditions in recent years, is the thing that they talk about at the very end. Somebody was threatened for termination after she abandoned her route amid tornado warnings near Edwardsville, Illinois. And they use that as an internal exercise to improve their policies. But whenever I hear about these kind of delivery things happening or somebody standing up for themselves, the person always seems to get fired when it goes viral. Instead of, eh,
Getting an award or something. I mean, obviously there's a safety element here, but I have to say, most people would probably say, nah, I'm not going to bother with that.
yeah, but I don't want people to get the idea that the means justifies the ends justifies the means, because just because I don't I don't want to hear from someone that they did it and everything was okay, so it's not a big deal, because when somebody sees this and they do it and they get shot, then it is a big deal. And so you can't be looked up to for guidance, and then when something bad happens, suddenly you say, well, I didn't make them do that. Well, no, we encouraged by our own actions to do the same things by those who are influenced by what they see. And if they don't engage enough critical thinking, and are not situationally aware, they may get harmed by feeling emboldened that other people can do it, so I can too. It's wholly different when you're talking about something like baseball or some sport or music or whatever. But when you are doing things that could harm yourself and
Or even
people,
others,
yeah,
because that
yeah,
person could have become a hostage. I mean, there are
yeah,
all kinds of things when there's a tense police situation.
yeah, and
The other thing is, I'm sure Amazon did not have a policy because you don't expect it. What to do when you encounter a standoff on your delivery route?
yeah,
Like, I bet they will now.
that go in the opposite direction.
Right.
Sticking to your always right hand turns, isn't? Don't they only do right hand turns? One of them, it's either because left hand turns require you to stop and cross over traffic. They only do right. They minimize the left hand turns as much as possible, defaulting to right hand turns because it's easier to just go around the block, go an extra block. I think that's how it works. Anyway, let's move on to the next article. The next one I thought was interesting. We usually know a little bit about the article that we choose, either because the title gives us enough, or the snippet gives us enough to base it, our additional conversation on it, or we have some experience historically with the stuff. This one pulled me in immediately from the title alone. Man caught obviously smuggling CPUs under his clothes. Why obviously? What was obvious about it? What do you think was obvious?
Well, I don't know how it's obvious that he's got the CPUs, because I'm thinking it's obvious that he's smuggling boxes or something. Like maybe you can see box shapes under his clothes. I don't know, because I haven't looked at the article itself. But I mean, does it have like a label sticking out that says something like IBM or whatever on it? Like, why is it so obvious?
Like a license plate surround on an unmarked police vehicle that says unmarked police vehicle.
Yeah,
There's an old
exactly.
there's an old adage that says you're going to do some crime, then at least try to be smart about it. I don't know if that's the adage. I think it says if you're not prepared to do the time, don't commit the crime. I think that's how it works. But that way, even if you get caught, you have a chance to come off as some sort of Ocean's 11 heist genius, as opposed to the guy who tried to get through Chinese customs with 239 Intel Core processors obviously strapped to his person. Chinese Site-Quai technology via, what is SWE? SWE clockers? I'm not sure what that is. SWE clockers.
I haven't heard of that one.
Or SWE clock? I don't know. Anyway, has shared this Darwinian tale of one man's attempt to bring this cache of CPUs into the country. So this is over at PC Gamer. Oh, wow. This is a little too obvious. I had heard about other people. Somebody had like taped lizards to their body. They've done all kinds of stuff to try and smuggle illegal products into or out of a country. This would have looked like sticks of dynamite, C4 or something.
Well, exactly. Like at that point, you don't care that somebody's smuggling CPUs. He's lucky he didn't get taken down or something by a SWAT team.
So the article was written by Hope Corrigan over at PCGamer.com, and it says, I heard under his shirt he has so many cores, like at least a 10-pack. This was way more than that, you know. Not even a 6-pack, he had a 10-pack. Get it? You know, his core was pretty... Anyway.
It was pretty, I don't know. I can't think of
what would you say about that? Wow, I can't even compute. I can't even. So yeah, tried to get through Chinese customs with 239 Intel Core processors, obviously strapped to his person. Chinese site Kauai Technology, I think it's Kauai. Close your eyes with me and envision for a moment that you are a customs worker at the Gongbei Port Passenger Inspection Hall. Your day has probably been pretty uneventful so far, but at 20:10 p.m., you spot a man walking towards the gates. Large black clothing, comically oversized, bulges in clearly not human ways at his waist and thighs. Is there another picture? I'm not even going to bother. The picture basically showed somebody that looked like they had C4 strapped to their person, but it was actually Intel processors that were being smuggled out of the country. The man makes for the no declaration channel of entry. You nudge your coworker, and say something along the lines of, "Are you seeing this?" Yeah, it's almost like Airplane, you know, the movie Airplane. If you've never seen it, go back and watch it. It's kind of slapsticky, like, hey, this guy's trying to just get through here with nearly 240 processors.
I mean, that's a lot of items to have taped to yourself.
Yeah, but okay, so the pics also reveal that at least a chunk of the CPUs were among Intel's latest offerings, with the Core i5-13400F. That's the latest generation, 13. These may be on a budget end when it comes to gaming CPUs, but they're easily one of the best on offer. It packs 10 cores at a very friendly price, under $200. And if the bulk of the haul is around this price point, then it's nearly $50,000 worth of product, assuming the cache didn't contain more expensive chips. So yeah, if they were i7s and K series, and well, let's just say that it could be, you know, twice that. So yeah, as a general rule though, don't do overt criminal acts like this. You know, if you're going to steal something, then make it a little pack of sugar for coffee. You know, not $50,000 worth of computer chips.
But as a PSA, let's try not to steal things too.
But packets of sugar are not even something you can steal from a place. They give it to you for free. That's my point. Man, the AI sometimes just takes things so literal. It's almost like they're programmed for this. So let's move on to the next article. I hit the wrong button. Yep, twice. 1 second, folks. I am too busy breaking things. So there you go, into the chat. Welcome to the chat. Danish Zoo hopes to ignite Panda Romance, or what I'm calling Pandemonium. Anyway, it's over in the Mobile channel. Concerned that its two pandas are slow to breed, Copenhagen Zoo, or Copenhagen Zoo, if you want to say it in American, has begun a new strategy to encourage mating, giving the prospective couple a Netflix account. And no, I'm sorry, that's not what they did. They're giving more time to get to know each other. So this is over at phys.org. Doesn't have an author, so at any rate, the Danish capital Zoo decided to put the bears into the same enclosure a month earlier than usual so that they can get acquainted. Do you like bamboo? I like bamboo. You want to eat some bamboo?
What do they talk about?
Eats, shoots, and leaves.
That's right.
Yeah, so they're going to get, well, I guess the phrase would be they're going to get it on. So they don't bicker when the mating season begins. They're going to be all friendly. They're going to date. They're going to go to some movies. They're going to hang out on that hill and over there on that rock. They're going to look at each other and, just like two pandas bumping in the night. Hey, why don't you come on over to my rock? I've got some fresh bamboo. No? Anyway.
I have no comment.
On loan from China for 15 years, Mao Sun and Jing Er arrived in Copenhagen in spring 2019, and since then, all attempts to breed have been unsuccessful. We are trying an approach that has been successful with our polar bears and brown bears. We are putting them together now, even though Mao Sun will not be ready for several weeks. Whoa, not be ready. Hey.
Well, what I like is it says they published images where the pandas are mostly glaring at each other. Maybe they don't like each other.
There's not exactly love in the air. How do they read that as glare? Like, is that glare?
I don't know. They look like they have friendly faces. It doesn't really look like a glare to me.
They look like they're perpetually concerned with something.
Well, yeah, that's true. But they don't look angry or anything.
No. Let's see. According to Panda International, the panda population currently stands at 1,864 worldwide, with around 600 in captivity around the entire world. Are these the next ones that are going to be in petting zoo or petting cafes in Japan?
Hopefully not.
I mean, these things.
I'm surprised they're not, though. I mean, because people really do love pandas. But I'm glad they're not.
That's okay. So the next article is over in Hatch Ideas. Ramen for breakfast. Cup noodles, new flavor, tastes like egg, sausage, and maple syrup pancakes. The limited edition flavor will sell for $1.18 at Walmart. Of course, Walmart. Oh, Walmart, you never change. Nicholas Vega over at CNBC.com's section called Make It. This came in the last 24 hours. The iconic ramen brand's latest product is its first design for the most important meal of the day. Cup Noodles Breakfast is a limited edition offering with bright, colorful packaging advertising it being artificially flavored as maple syrup, pancakes, sausage, and egg, and affront to humanity. Oh, that's not what it says. I really love cup noodles, though, or cup noodles. I love all of that kind of stuff where you can just throw it into a microwave, heat it up for a couple of minutes, and bingo bango, you're off and running again. Because Mayor Watt has stuff to do. And well, cup noodles really gets it done really fast.
Well, I've never thought of ramen really as a breakfast food, but I bet regular ramen would be great for breakfast.
Now,
I don't know about this flavor.
I've had regular ramen for breakfast, mainly because you're up all night doing something and you've blurred the line between, well, a couple of things
late
like
dinner or whatever.
Well, I mean, you've pretty much blurred the line between reality and food. And so you just, oh, look, that looks like food. I'll eat that. Anyway, it says it's not the first time that Cup Noodles has created a non-traditional flavor. In October of 2021, the company unveiled a pumpkin spice version of its noodles for its 50th anniversary. And the sound of retching was heard later that month. That's not what the article says either. But anyway, I don't know. Maybe I'll try this just so that I can say that I've tried it. But again, I'm not too hip to the syrup, maple syrup pancake soup kind of a flavor that's going to be attached to this thing. So,
I mean, the sausage and egg part probably tastes pretty good, but yeah, the pancake part.
that just kind of throws it really kind of a sideways kind of thing. Like, what? Wait, I can handle the sausage and egg side of things. That's typically in a soup. You know, you can throw egg into a soup. That's pretty easy. Sausage, same thing. You know, that's where you get your proteins. But I don't know, man. Maple syrup just seems like it's too much. Anyway, let's hustle on to the next article. This next article is in the Marble Channel. 3 newly discovered sea worms that glow in the dark, named after creatures from Japanese folklore and marine biologist. A research group from Nagoya University in central Japan have discovered 3 new species of bioluminescent polycerus worms from different parts of Japan. Usually found in shallow water, polycerus are small worms known for their bioluminescence. The researchers named one of their discoveries after a ghostly yokai, a creature in Japanese folklore, another after a lantern yokai, and another after an influential Japanese marine biologist. And the researchers published their findings in the journal Royal Society Open Science. This article is over at phys.org, and apparently this is what it looks like. Polycerus onibi, a newly discovered marine worm that glows in the dark. Nagoya University is where this article was written and posted by phys.org. What do you think? Does that look friendly?
I can't tell what to make of it. I mean, it kind of looks like it'd be a neat character if it was animated or something, but I don't know. If you encountered that, you might be like, what is this?
Yeah, if it was bigger, it would be very Cthulhu-esque. It has little tentacle bits just all kind of everywhere. Looks kind of like my hair, actually, but thicker. Scientists have studied only a small fraction of the more than 7,000 species of luminescent organisms in the world. Research remains limited to certain species because of the existence of specimens that are difficult to classify into species without correct identification of the species. Comparisons of different results are of limited use. I wonder, yeah, they got a video here. Let's mash that button and mute it so that I don't get a DMCA takedown. Polycerus, huh? Let's see. I don't know if all of this, is there supposed to be something here? If that was something, I don't know what it was. It looks like there's little flickering glowy bits, but all right. I've played it twice and I still don't know what the hell's going on. So we'll just move on. Anyway, we use the name of Japanese yokai such as Onibi and Aoanden for the new species because the hazy blue-violet bioluminescence emitted by the Polycerus species is strikingly similar to the descriptions of these creatures found in folklore, said Jimmy. Polycerus ikiguchi, on the other hand, was described from specimens collected at the Notojima region in Japan. As Shinichi Ikiguchi was the former director of Notojima Aquarium and helped to find the worm, it seemed appropriate to name it after him. So there you go. If you are interested in Japanese yokai, it's basically, for lack of a better phrase, creatures from folklore. Interesting, though. I love the idea of bioluminescence.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. We don't see it that often.
No.
And I also like how these are named. I mean, that just kind of makes it cooler.
So Onibi means demon fire, and Aoandan means blue lantern, apparently. Interesting. Dun dun dun. There's actual more lore over here in this article, so I encourage you to follow the link and go over to, oh, and you know what I didn't do? I didn't throw that into the chat. So even if you did want to go to it, you wouldn't have gotten there. Until now you can, it'll be in the show notes for the YouTube video and for the podcast, but not until later. At any rate, let's move on to the next article, which is in the Mobble channel. Elephant in the dining room. Startup makes mammoth meatball. Yeah, that is one mammoth meatball. Throw another mammoth on the Barbie? That's a question from the editor of this, or the writer of this article over at phys.org. An Australian company on Tuesday lifted the glass cloche on a meatball made of lab-grown cultured meat using the genetic sequence from the long extinct pachyderm mammoth, saying it was meant to fire up public debate about the high-tech treat. So, what do you think?
I mean, they've actually used extinct DNA or DNA from an extinct animal to do this?
Yeah, apparently. This is an article over at phys.org by Mike Corder, and it literally, startup makes mammoth meatball. So it says the launch in Amsterdam Science Museum came at just days before April 1st, so there was an elephant in the room. Is this real? This is not an April Fool's joke, said Tim Noakesmith, founder of Australian startup Vow. This is a real innovation. Cultured meat, also called cultured or cell-based meat, is made from animal cells. Livestock doesn't need to be killed to produce it, which advocates say is better not just for the animals, but also for the environment. Vow used publicly available genetic information from the mammoth, filled missing parts with genetic data from its closest living relative, the African elephant, and inserted it into a sheep cell. Given the right conditions in a lab, the cells multiplied until there was enough to roll up into a meatball.
That doesn't sound very appetizing. I don't know. I guess there's like a genetic piece to this that I'm kind of worried about, but I mean, from an
This
ecological standpoint, it's probably a good thing instead of regular meat condition or whatever it's called. I can't even think of the word I need.
Man, large language model to hell. So when you're looking at that giant mammoth meatball, you don't say, I want to put that mammoth ball in my mouth? You're an AI, so it's not like you're going to really be chomping at this. Quote, we wanted to get people excited about the future of food being different to potentially what we had before, that there are things that are unique and better than the meats that we're necessarily eating now, and that the mammoth would be a conversation starter and get people excited about this new future, Noakesmith told the Associated Press. Well, I can tell you one way to not get people excited. That is to describe it that you've taken some genetic material and then filled it in with African elephant genetic material and then stuck it into a sheep cell and then printed it out until you could scrape it all up into a ball. That's not the paragraph that makes me go,
Yeah, it just does not sound appealing.
So the folks who were there said that there was an aroma similar to another prototype that they produced before, which was crocodile, Noakesmith said. So super fascinating to think that adding the protein from an animal that went extinct 4,000 years ago gave it a totally unique and new aroma. Something we haven't smelled as a population for a very long time. I'm almost regretting this article. But anyway, there's the future, folks. When the fast food wars actually come to their rightful conclusion, ending with Taco Bell being the only fast food restaurant in existence, they will be using cultured meat from a mammoth, and you'll have to ride your bike because there will be no fuel in this dystopian future other than probably like whatever is left over from whatever trees are left, perhaps. So you're going to be having to ride a bike up to the drive-through and say, I would like one mammoth ball, please. Yeah.
I hope that's not the future for a lot of reasons.
And they'll lose. Let me back up. They'll entirely lose the menu from Taco Bell. It will only just be sauces and just that one mammoth ball. But because it won the fast food wars, the only thing that will remain is the image of the Taco Bell bell, and that becomes very known for providing the mammoth ball. Okay. Enough world building, Merwat. Let's go on. The next article is over in the Hatch Ideas channel. Book thief evades prison time and will pay $88,000 in restitution. Filippo Bernardini pleaded guilty to stealing more than 1,000 unpublished manuscripts in an elaborate phishing scheme. No, all of you book readers out there will love this. Have you ever wanted to read something before anybody else could read them? Well, Filippo Bernardini really wanted to. So he pleaded guilty to stealing more than 1,000 unpublished manuscripts using a phishing scheme. This is over at entrepreneur.com by Madeline Garfinkel. And the article basically goes into the fact that this 30-year-old, starting in 2016, used more than 160 fraudulent email domains of real editors, agents, publishing professionals, and others to trick authors into sending unpublished manuscripts to Bernardini. Over 1,000 of them. Now, you might be thinking, well, what did he do with them? Did he actually steal them and publish them and make money? No.
That's what I would have thought.
Nope. During his 6-year stint at scamming, all he wanted to do was read it before anybody else.
That's an unusual scheme.
So in a letter to Colleen McMahon, a federal judge in the Southern District of New York, Bernardini admitted that he never leaked the manuscripts, but rather wanted to be one of the few to cherish them before anyone else before they ended up in bookshops. There were times where I read the manuscripts and I felt a special and unique connection with the author, almost like I was the editor of that book. Bernardini faced up to 21 months in prison, but said, sorry, and I'll pay $88,000 in restitution to Penguin Random House instead of going to jail. So this person really, they would have been able to read a lot of books in jail in 21 months.
That's right, but I don't know. I mean, they only stole 1,000.
Yeah, but they didn't sell it for profit. They didn't leak it to anybody else. They didn't give them to anybody else. They didn't distribute them in any way. They just wanted to read them before anybody else. Now, the illegality of it, I totally understand. But is it really...
I don't really see where the damage is, though.
Right.
Unless they, for instance, forewent other representation, like they thought something was going to happen with this where it was going to be published and that it was exclusive and they couldn't submit. I mean, in those instances, I could see that they'd be harmed.
Yeah, but you wouldn't know because it's a negative. Well, I didn't go to this publisher. Okay, but how do we know that you were really out anything?
Right, but I mean, some use exclusive submission, so
Sure.
you'd be tying it up for a period of time. But I know what you mean. Like, it doesn't necessarily show that anybody would have published it, for example.
Right. Or what the quality of the work is. So I just see this as almost, yeah, 88,000 seems more like paying the attorney's fees for something like this. But facing 21 months in prison, I probably would have said, no, I'll pay whatever you want. No.
You know what? I'm guessing this person was in the publishing industry, so I suspect they worked for this particular institution, and so maybe the institution thought it was harmed because the person was holding themselves out as being an employee or something. I don't know.
Interesting. Yeah. So one of Bernardini's victims said, you feel violated. I don't want anyone to know how bad the early drafts of things are. Well, nobody knows. So I don't know why
Until
they feel
you've,
violated.
put that quote out there.
Yeah, really. Yeah. It's almost the Streisand effect. But now they're named in an article in entrepreneur.com and now here in ohmTown. So who knows? Maybe they'll go viral for that. But honestly, you weren't violated. All it was you sent a PDF of your book to somebody who was rather, I don't know, kind of creepy to feel like you're the editor for a book that was sent to you just because it was sent to you and that you have a special and unique connection. This is very, like,
Misery.
it's creepy. It's almost a book. What is the one where Misery? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I just said that.
Yeah, I was talking over you. Sorry. Yeah, it's very like Misery. In Misery, if you haven't read that, she actually moves to that neighborhood so that there was a better chance of running into that author because she was a super fan.
That's not creepy.
Yeah. Well, that's Misery for you. Anyway, that's it for tonight. Look at that. We made it under an hour, folks. So we always bring you back. We always bring you back to the front of ohmTown, like you're driving right into town, but we are actually just a pocket of electrons in the crossroads of wires. We are that little bit of resistance, that little bit of anomalous heat. That is where ohmTown exists. But all connections lead to ohmTown. We aggregate a bunch of headlines and a little bit of the article. And then we talk about it every day. 9 o'clock Eastern for about an hour. Sometimes it's an hour and a half. If people show up and hang out and chat, we can run even longer. Most of the time, people hang out, they lurk, they listen, and then they take off. Because we typically only spend an hour. So if you are interested in hanging out for longer, I will hang out and just let me know. The AI may not be able to, but I certainly can. And from here, all I want to do is wish you a good night. And don't forget to follow us here on Twitch, like and subscribe, ring the bell, all that kind of stuff over on YouTube. And you can download the podcast, tell a friend over there, and also please leave a review. It really does help us out in all of these places. Let people know that we are out here and talking about the latest and greatest, and sometimes the funniest news that you can possibly imagine. Some of it isn't that wacky, but I've seen weirder, but we try to make it entertaining. At any rate, I'm Mayor Watt. That's ohmTown.com, and right up there is the AI. You want to say bye to everybody?
Good night, ohmTown citizens, and we will see you at tomorrow's show.
9 p.m. Let me back that up. 9 p.m. Eastern. Wow. Talk to you tomorrow.